Hello, my people.
Hi, my person.
Why are you already smiling? Hello, my people. You are smiling. As if someone that is tickling you and you are smiling. You know what, Alama will tickle you first before you begin to smile.
Tony, I'm speechless.
Okay, is that why you are fanning your face?
Answer him.
I don't have the strength to answer Anthony right now.
You gave good vibe, and I replied.
So new viper.
I'm actually speechless, Anthony.
All right, well, just forgive me for who I am. You know who I am now, so this is who I am. This is how I got. This is how God created me. So
are you sure about that? He created you.
Did I create myself like this? God created me like this.
Anthony is always wowing us.
It's like Rachel said, there's this expression I have only when Anthony is on set.
That's because I'm the life of the party.
Hey God.
Another speechless comment.
So let's not just deviate from what we intend to talk about today.
All right.
So we know we are living in a society where so many things are happening. And when you talk about so many things, we are talking about so many atrocities that are happening in our society.
Atrocities.
Things that our youths today have, we don't know where they got the idea from. We don't know where or what even gave them the inspiration of doing.
We actually know where they get the idea from.
Thank you.
So me, I don't know. I don't know where they got. Because you know why I said so. You know why I said so.
Let's hear
now,
what you said.
in the beginning, God created who and who?
Man and woman.
Did God created Adam and Steve? No, did God created Abigail and Adam? He created Adam and Eve. Sure. So where's the idea of lesbian? What's it called?
Yeah, lesbianism.
Gay. What?
Queer.
Yeah, she just pronounced it. Okay. I also struggle.
Whatever Prudence pronounced. Like we don't know where all of these things got their originations from. Even those that first of all started it, we don't know where they got the idea from. Our viewers, we are doing
God's intention, right?
And God's intention.
LGBTQ.
Yeah, thank you.
They said it. I don't know what it is, but they said it.
Wow.
So you are saying something.
Okay, so I keep telling people, right? This is not new. I think when we talked about new norms in one of our really
first
episodes like that, we brought this as one of the new norms. And I said why it fell into the category of a new norm is not that it just started happening, but we have that even in the Bible. What makes it a new norm is that it's now being seen as normal.
Yes.
And it's no
longer being
accepted.
It's not frowned
and
at.
It's being
it's
what's
common.
the word for when you are tolerating? Yeah, it's being tolerated. Yes. And we're living in a situation, right? I mean, not in a situation, it is a situation, but we're living in a community, in a world right now that when you speak against it, it's tagged as hate or a phobia. They say you're homophobic and all of that. And I know a lot of people who have lost their jobs because of talking about this. Yes. Okay? I know a lot of people that it could be sporting stars, it could be people in big offices, world positions that have lost their positions because they refuse to agree with this new trend and what people are trying to force as normal. However, we are all about God's standards. And we just have to make it clear that we do not hate, neither do we love it. And we will not speak against or cause any violence or say anything that will make people who are into such lifestyle to be hated or any danger. However, what we cannot do is to bend the scripture to fit into this lifestyle.
And
we can't rewrite the Bible again
what's
to
God's
accommodate
intention?
that. What is God's intention
about this?
Yeah. That's basically it. See, I think majorly it's not that we hate the people who are engaging in it. No, in fact, it's actually the opposite. We actually love you, but the problem now is we hate what you are doing.
The act.
Just the act.
Yeah.
And we are hating the act because that's not God's original
not
plan.
in accordance to what
it's
God
not
wants.
even. It's not about the original plan. That is not even God's plan.
No, I mean,
He knows the original.
it's not original. It's not even there in his plan. Yeah, true.
So it's not like what we are saying is like belittling who you are or what you think or who you think you are, but we are just standing by what we know and we believe is the truth that can never be changed. And that is, God did not design you yes, he did not design you to be a lesbian or gay,
a transgender.
He already designed.
And what is bisexual?
I think the one that I really find terribly offensive to God is trans.
Yeah.
Because
let me just cut you there, right? Because the truth is that I find that also personally very offensive, the whole idea behind transgender. Like, why would we think, and how do we justify that you think that I as a man, for example, that getting myself a new pair of boobs in whatever way, surgery or how, I don't know, and putting on some wig and putting on makeup automatically makes me a woman. I find that very insulting in so many ways. The fact that I have to start taking things to change the natural order of who I am. If we're going to be scientific people, then
Please calm down with your Torah.
Like, because some of these things is they keep saying I was born this way, it's natural, it's normal.
It's a lie.
What is natural is the form in which you came out of. Because even from conception, nobody knows the X or the O chromosome that was released. These are all things that we can't even be in control of. And then you come out, whether a boy or a girl, and we even go to the extent of saying, don't call the baby a boy or girl, gender fluidity or whatsoever, until the child grows up and decide the sex that they want to be. And all of these upside down thoughts that not only contradict God's standard, but even contradict the science that we want to place above God. So what are we trying to say? It is very offensive in a lot of ways, because even our DNA says who you are. Do you know that we do even have bones that are only peculiar to females and all of that? So how do you change that?
So when you and there's another thing I really try to understand is that when you go for this surgery, they find a womb for you. Then they find the way to for you to have a pelvis that can enlarge and
I just don't know.
So that you'll be able to give birth. Because I don't really get
that.
The most they do is just get this done
and change the
and just maybe
genitals,
heighten their cheekbones.
Oh, I thought, but they do change genitals as well.
They do that, but it has been very dangerous, and very few people have successfully done that.
I don't see the joy in which people derive in, and being for the fact that I am being created as a male. Then I was just from nowhere, the idea of wanting to be like a female will just enter me from nowhere. I should know that idea is coming from the pit of hell.
It's called depraved
and to come to think of, okay, I am a guy, and then I'll be attracted to my fellow guy. Like that thing is, I don't want to use that word because you'll be angry, but then it disgusts me. Honestly, do you know why? The thing is, you are trying to say that God's idea of creating you and then to be attracted to your opposite sex is completely wrong and is stupid.
I'm not stopping you. I'm just breaking you a little bit. I'm not saying that that's not. It's understandable that you feel that way. However, I've heard of a group of not like a group of people. At fellowship one day, I met a lady who she was giving us a story of how she went to.
Lesbian.
Wow, Anthony, why are you feeling up my?
You have started. You haven't changed.
She went to a country who has accepted and welcomed this. What we're talking about today, the LGBT community. Oh, it also has a plus right now.
Yeah, it has a plus.
LGBT plus. because there's more. That's what I don't understand though, but
Yeah.
Continue.
that she in the church was asking, what are the challenges that you have faced? And a number of people, including married men, men who are married, in the Western countries, they marry early. You find that somebody at the age of 19 is married, 20,
18,
21,
16.
So at around the age 24, 25, this person is finding that he's attracted to the opposite sex. And at that moment, that person knows that it is not right, but he's struggling. And I think that it is an environmental factor. The fact that your environment has accepted something it automatically has a way of influencing your thoughts.
And the challenge. Okay, Anthony, you were trying to say something before Prudence cut you, so
Just continue. I'll still say my own.
all right. So another thing that is creeping into our culture, and that's the thing that scares me a lot, because now I'm imagining as a soon-to-be parent in the nearest future, I have to sit down and vet every kid content that my children will watch, because the cartoons now also promote that. Every cartoon has a promotion of things like that. And the moment that our children will start growing up and watching things like this, they begin to feel it's normal. And just as you said, it comes with society and community. Whatever is accepted, people embrace it and start saying it is my nature. It is the way I was given birth to. It's not a choice. It wasn't an option for me. It's the way I was being given birth. But we know that the ultimate who created us, that is God, designed us in a specific way and for a purpose. And every other thing we are doing is just defiling the real intentions he has for us.
And because you said that, I just wanted to add that when he said he created man in his image, then he goes further to say male and female,
man and woman,
created them. So when he said male and female, he created them, that means there's no in between.
There's no in between.
The thing is, God's plan is just absolutely the best. You know why? God is, I don't really know the brain behind God anyway.
Wow, Anthony.
No.
How would you even
imagine such? But yes, it's true. I'm trying to drive at something. I'm sorry. I have to be blunt saying this. Like, with all these physical properties that girls have.
That's
like
for
as
you.
a guy, as a guy, what would you admire in it?
Why would it make sense that you would find the opposite sex
Anthony, I just want you to understand. See, in before, in the world where if you are having any form of premarital sex, people are looking at you negatively, and premarital sex was not in vogue. Not a lot of people always thought of having sex before marriage.
True.
But the moment premarital sex was welcome with open arms, everybody,
it's not the opposite.
Us,
it's not the opposite.
So my point now,
I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying. And my point now is that right now you can't imagine it. You don't even get why somebody is attracted to same sex. You can't imagine it, and I think that that's because we are in a relatively safe environment that still frowns as this. But in a environment like the Western states, that this is welcomed, that they fight for LGBT rights, in those environments, it is easy for them to picture it. It is easy for you as a lady to just say, "Oh no, I have a woman crush, a girl crush."
True.
It is very easy.
It's very easy
for a guy to see his guy like, "Oh man, this guy is hot." It's easy because that's the community that they are in. That's what's acceptable.
I think that's the point.
That's what is acceptable in their community. So it is important to understand that in a community like ours, it's easier for you to not engage in things like that. It's easier for you to find it nasty or disgusting. But if you find yourself in an environment like theirs, it's going to be easy for you to
where you might even have a brother that is one and he's forced, you have to accept him.
Accept him as your brother.
In essence, you are saying that our community, our society, like has a greater influence in our choice of things.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
We've been saying that.
Yeah, it's true. But I just I felt there will be limits to what our environment like a limit to how our environment can actually affect us. Like that has been
the limit is great.
My perception.
The percentage to how much our society affects us is just like doesn't affect us just like 10% out of 90.
Yeah. So when we were talking about willpower and how I was saying that yes, your willpower is important. It's important that you make your choices. However, the society you find yourself greatly affects your willpower. It's easy for your willpower to be belittled. That is when you really, really need the fuel that drives that train, and that is the Holy Spirit.
True. And we're living in a society that in as much as this thing is being secret, I've seen a lot of gay couples, like I have. Funny enough, I have. And for like the women that want to act and dress and look like guys, are like
the tomboys.
Tomboys and then studs, and they always dress like that. And I've seen a couple of them where I live, and they're holding hands and walking, but then what they don't understand is that the other lady that looks very much like a man, others might think from behind, if you see them you would think this is a man and a woman, but for me I knew that this was two females walking together, and it's creeping into our society slowly. And for us to feel that it will never get to us, we're lying, because in as much, I think the only difference between us and the Western culture is it has been made legal. In a lot of countries, while we are not probably, and I'll never look forward to in Nigeria that such will be legalized. No, because let's keep these religious values of us and what God intends.
They should not legalize it for us.
That's what we're saying.
Our history should not be that of Sodom and Gomorrah.
No.
Funny enough,
but there's a lot of terrible things going on, even worse than what we're talking about.
Exactly. It's true, very true.
Yes.
But what I want us to note very much is that a lot of people like to disperse it's like you're dropping the Old Testament and thinking that the Old Testament does not have. But then interestingly, the Old Testament, I can't remember the verse exactly, but it vividly tells you to not lay with a man.
It says so. And there are stories like that.
If you are a man, do not lay with a man as you would.
That's why I said it's not.
Do you know how uncomfortable I feel when a man like uses his leg to even touch my own leg? No, I'm serious. Or maybe we are sitting close to each other and then our hands are rubbing each other like consistently. It makes me feel.
Okay, wow. I'm not going to say anything about that. I rest my case
on how you feel about brushing hand with another man.
Excuse me. In some Asian countries, it's like a very normal gesture for a man to touch his face.
There are cultures that men hug and kiss each other, want to hear. I think it's just our backgrounds and then where we come from and all of that. And stop over personalizing it, Anthony, okay? Just stop picturing it and just imagining yourself doing stuff like that. Don't just put yourself in that kind of position, because at times when I see all the things that are happening in the world, like bisexual and all of that, I'll be like, you know what, this is a very depraved thing, to be precise, right? And then each time these things don't make sense for me until when I came across a chapter in Romans where God said at the end time he's going to leave mind to man, to their depraved mind. And that's why we see things like bestiality, for example, and you wonder where you see an increase in pedophilia and you see an increase in necrophilia and all of those things.
Interestingly, I actually heard that the pedophiles are actually seeking to be included in the Lgbtq
community. Can you imagine? And all comes to my mind is a depraved mind, because the Bible is complete. If God says he is going to do this, he is going to do it. And we are already starting to see how the world is changing and evolving, and people are having depraved mind, but they are hiding under the liberty of this is who I am.
Yeah.
How is a depraved mind who you are?
You know, it's very funny. And the thing is, we just have to accept the fact that, okay, the world is actually going to an end. And then some of these things are things
We'll
that...
see a lot of things.
Yeah, some of these things are things that have been foreseen, have been prophesied upon. So all we need to do is just know what you want.
When you say men will be lovers of themselves, it means selfish to do whatever it takes to gratify their own pleasure.
So it's like when you're talking about how you let your flesh be the lord over you. That's basically what is happening here. And we are just telling you out there, if you are like, for instance, the illustration I was giving about the married couples, Christian married men. Having these kind of questions that they begin to question yourself, please go back. I think you should go and watch our episode on identity crisis.
And the fact that you have to be called a gay Christian already says it's wrong.
That's not a Christian. No.
And we have all of that. We have all of that coming into our society, and people normalizing things that don't make sense. You are a Christian, you're a Christian. I can't be a Wamba Christian. That's where I'm coming from. I can't be a just Christian.
She said where she's coming from.
Where I'm coming from, I can't be a black Christian or
a Christian is a Christian, regardless your race or
Christian, regardless of your race.
So all we need to, because we don't have time anymore, I want to close the show.
Always not having time. What are we going to do about that?
I have no idea, but I think we have to
as the anointed one that happens to be anchoring this show.
Wow.
Do you know what it takes to be anointed?
No, we don't know. We have no idea.
You've never been there. How would you know?
Wow, Anthony.
Yes. Okay, Anthony.
So what I'm trying to say is, like, we should only put it at the back of our mind that God is not stupid one. God is not a fool for him to have created us the way plan. So God's intention is absolutely the best and nothing but the best. So we should not do things that are contrary to the word of God or what God has warned against us not to do. We should do what is acceptable, what is ideal, what you do and you feel.
I know that you want to round up, but I just really needed to say this.
Then you say that and close the show for us.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so I just want you to remember, so for any instance that you feel attracted to the same sex, please remember that you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and his design is perfect. There's nothing wrong with what he has done. He said that at the end of the creation, he said everything, now you see that everything was good. Is good. So don't begin to think that you were created to be a lesbian or a gay. No, you were not. You're created to be in the image of God.
Yeah. True.
So I just want you to keep that in mind.
And close the show for us.
And that's it on Radio Show Live.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you for watching and listening.
Bye.
Remember to like, comment, and make your contributions.
Exactly.
Thank you. And have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.